you have done. You find yourself still going from one hardship after another. And to make matters even worse, when you look outside of your window and look at the people around you that don't even have God on their mind, and they look like they're living much better than you're living. Sometimes it's hard to give God praise in the midst of all of those negative situations. But we have to get to a place and a point in our walk with God that I don't praise God based on my situation, but I praise God based on my revelation. And my revelation tells me that the best is yet to come. I wonder do I have about 15 of you in the house today that can look at your situation and say, my situation may not be good right now, but I'm going to bless the name of God anyhow. Look at what Paul was dealing with. Paul was about to face death at Nero's chopping block. One would think that after a lifetime of service to God, that Paul would have received a great reward. But instead of a great reward, Paul gets a death sentence. It was also clear at this point in Paul's life that he would have felt hurt and angry with God. After all, if anybody in the New Testament understood that Jesus was a friend, it was the Apostle Paul. It's here while under house arrest, waiting to be placed on Nero's chopping block, that Paul writes a letter to the Philippian church. That Paul writes a letter that can be applied to your life and to my life. And that is Paul wants us to know that even though we are children of God, we cannot allow the present predicaments in our life to keep us from giving God praise. Because the praise that we render unto God is where our strength comes from. When we learn how to praise God in the midst of persecution, in the midst of trials, in the midst of tribulation, God is able to take us to another level. So according to our text, Paul exhorts us not to worry about anything, but in everything pray. In everything, in every situation, in every circumstance, in every instance of life, you need to pray. And understand that when you pray, you are not just praying to anybody, but you're praying to Jesus, who is also our friend. Ask your friend for what you want. Ask your friend for what you need. The answer might be yes. The answer might be no. The answer might be wait. The answer might be next week, next year. But let your request be made known unto God. And the peace of God will come upon you. This peace that I'm talking about is rest. That is the absence of strife in the state of untroubled, undisturbed well-being. It is God's mercy granting deliverance and freedom from all the stress and the experience of sin. It is here while the effects of prayer kicks in. In prayer, we find that we have a friend that loves us unconditionally. There are no magic tricks. There are no gimmicks in prayer. Prayer does not always reverse the situation. Scripture's wife, soon-to-be wife, did not come back from the dead. The Apostle Paul did not get a stay of execution. Jesus still died on the cross, but Paul said, pray anyhow. And that is what you and I need in our spirit, is a anyhow spirit. We pray anyhow. If you get healed, pray. If you don't get healed, pray anyhow. Paul knew that he must pray anyhow because of what prayer does. First of all, prayer gives us relief. When you talk to the one who promises never to leave you, it is relief to know that he never made a promise that he did not keep. Prayer relieves your stress of thinking that you're all by yourself. Prayer does more than relieve you. Prayer also restores you. This is what David was talking about when he said, God restores my soul. Or at the grave side of a loved one, God restores our soul. Or when you pray, He will give you all that you need to face another day. When you pray, He'll put you back where your enemies have taken you from. When you pray, He will restore peace in the midst of your storm. Even though the storm doesn't go away, you can stand in the midst of the storm and throw up your hands and say, God, I give your name praise because you're worthy to be praised. And I praise you, God, not because you didn't take the storm away, but because in the midst of the storm, you're able to keep me in the midst of the storm. I wonder, is there anybody here that's ever been in a storm of your life and you wanted God to take you out the storm? And God said, now, because if I take you out the storm, you can't see my power in the storm. So God left you in the storm. You didn't get back in the storm. That's what God wanted you while you're in the storm. I'm glad to know that I have a God that doesn't have to deliver me, but God can keep me in the midst of my storm. So when I come out, I can tell the whole world, yeah, it was raining in my life, but I did not get wet because God has been my umbrella. According to the text, the life circumstance have beat you down. And Jesus is your friend. We need to look at the situation and then rejoice. And the reason I can rejoice is because I know Jesus, my best friend, is in charge of all of the situations that happen in my life. You know how it is when you have a friend in authority and the people on the lower level trying to tell you that you can't go where you're attempting to go. But your friend in authority has already told you you could go. But they didn't know the connection that you had. And then you pick up your cell phone and say, yo, what a man, what they're trying to do to me. They're trying to block my interest. And he gets on the phone and says, that's my homeboy. Let that brother up these stairs. And then they look at you like they're all crazy and they let you go up the stairs. And that's the way it is with the house of God. Your name is child of God. And the devil is trying to block you. And the devil is trying to keep you out of God. Speak to that situation and open doors that no man can shut. And shut some doors that no man. Oh, y'all know what I'm talking about. Some of y'all right up in here have some doors open in your life. You know you want to try to hide from God. You know you didn't have everything you need. But God made a way for you. So you see, God says, I'll make a way for you. So Paul says, rejoice in the Lord always. And again, I say rejoice. Paul doesn't say rejoice and just stop. Paul says rejoice in the Lord. And again, I say rejoice. Paul was a good psychological therapist. Because Paul said rejoice because Paul understood that not everybody that is going through stuff can just jump up and start giving God praise on a moment notice. You know, I need to say it again and again. Because so oftentimes we're caught dealing with that which we're going through. And our eyes are off of the one that can bring us through. In other words, I'm too busy looking at my storm than to look to the one who controls the storm.